guys, Master Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today we are going to do the team building guide for the Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Physical Omega Shenron EZA that is coming out on JP. It's going to be coming out a little over 12 hours from the release of this guide. I always try and put these out a little bit before the event. Gives you guys a chance to, you know, go through the video, leave some comments, some suggestions, and then obviously build your team ready for the event to drop. So, the category weakness is Shadow Dragon Saga. So this is going to be an interesting one. And it is a dual Extreme Z battle. So you start off fighting against Omega in his SSR form, and then obviously his TUR form. And then once you get halfway through the event, it switches over to Gogeta. Once you get to stage 16 and you get to Gogeta, you get the 80% damage reduction against all AGL units. So basically, once you get to Gogeta, AGL units are going to be basically pointless in terms of dealing damage. And then one thing to point out about this, when you get to stage 21 onwards, you get 2 stones as a reward for each stage. So once you've beaten all of the stages, you actually get 40 stones in total rather than 30. And then obviously past stage 31, you can carry on going to get Hercule statues. So obviously you're going to get all of the medals. You do get some Kais. I haven't actually counted. So you get 6 tech and 6 physical. So you get more than enough. So you're going to have 1 spare of each after you've put both of them up to SA 15. So very good. Obviously, if you have a spare copy SA 5, because I think I've had a spare Gogeta SA 5 for a while, whenever the last time he was on a banner. But yeah, Shadow Dragon Saga is the weakness. So let us go ahead and jump over and look at the category. Okay, so Shadow Dragon Saga is obviously not the biggest category. We've got 2 main leaders, couple of sub-leaders. There are some other ways you can obviously get around it as well. As always with my team building guides, I go through my top picks and honourable mentions. And if you guys think there's any units that I either missed out or I should have talked about a little bit more, maybe I missed a key aspect of why they will be so good in the event, make sure you let me know down below in the comment section. And if you do find the guide useful at all, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So let us just go ahead and jump straight in. So first up, and this is probably going to be one of the more solid options for people who have pulled the new LR. The LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, obviously they are in the Shadow Dragon Saga category. Their leader skill is Fused Fighters or GT Heroes. So basically what this means is you can build a team of GT heroes that are in the Shadow Dragon Saga category, and then obviously that team is going to be very, very powerful and potentially even, let's be honest, like carried by this LR, right? Like this LR, if you're getting their full effect, where you get the 20 key, you get an additional super guaranteed. And then obviously if you're getting 24 key, that's effective against all types, which means the additional super will be effective against all types as well. So they are just going to be a very, very strong unit. Obviously you can't bring them as a friend unless, well, I mean you can still just bring them as a friend, right? Their leader skill might not cover your whole team unless you deliberately build it as a GT Heroes or Fused Fighters team under the leader skill that you want to use. But yeah, as a friend, they're obviously going to be very powerful. If you can go about building your team this way and then just bringing a friend, even if you don't have the new LR, that's probably going to be one of the more powerful ways to do so. So that leads us into, because obviously I don't think I should even need to mention it, but once you get to turn 4, which maybe in the later stages of the EZA, especially against Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you might be able to do that. You can transform into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and I found where I've been working on my JP account, I was using a friend to do the Fusions EZAs. Once you get to turn 4, the enemy is usually on 50% or less health, so straight away, the turn where you transform into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you can then use his active skill to do the Ultra Big Bang Kamehameha and basically just finish them off. So very, very powerful. Probably the best unit to use in the event by far. So next up we have the INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. People feel like he's outdated nowadays. I feel like he's kind of underrated, but he is obviously the Shadow Dragon Saga leader, 3 key 150 across the board. He also has the Giant 8 power 3 key 170. So if you're bringing any of the other Super Saiyan 4s, like the LR friend and stuff, they're going to be getting that bigger buff. So he is a very solid unit. Definitely the best choice for the leader, just because the Shadow Dragon Saga leader options aren't exactly the greatest, and INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is still very good, especially when you consider in the last half of the event you're going to be fighting against a tech enemy anyway, so you're going to have type advantage the whole time. His active skill, he has to receive 4 or more attacks. In an EZA, that's not necessarily difficult. Sometimes they will have attacks piled up in one slot, but chances are you probably won't get to see his active skill all that much throughout the course of the EZA. But he is probably the best leader to use. Very solid attack and defense right from the start. Gets the extra 40% for 8 turns, which is basically going to cover the entire EZA. It's very unlikely that it's going to go on for longer than that. So that should be a very, very powerful option here. And of course you can counter the super attacks as well, because the early stage he's going to have type disadvantage against Omega, so if he doesn't counter a super he might take a little bit of damage, but you only fight Omega for the first half of the EZA, which is obviously not the hardest part anyway. So he's definitely the best choice for leader if you don't have the LRs. Next up we have the physical Omega Shenron himself. Obviously very outdated at this point, not very good defensively at all, but he's the next best leader for Shadow Dragon Saga if you don't have the INT Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta or the new LRs. So not really much to say about him. Obviously if you have to use him as your leader, as you get through the stages, you can keep going back to like the awakening menu and keep awakening him up the steps that he needs to start getting those extra buffs. But he's obviously going to be one of the weaker units on the team if you are having to run him for his leader skill. And then, of course, last resort, we have this GT Goku, who is a free-to-play option. Only has a 77% lead, but at least he's in, so he's going to have type advantage over Gogeta at the end. So, not the best unit in the world, but probably the last resort for a lot of people for the leader. So, in terms of the actual units for the team, straight away we talk about STR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Obviously for the first half of the event, he's going to have type advantage over Omega. He's obviously under the leader skill for the new LRs. He's under the Giant 8 power part of the leader skill for the INT Gogeta. So just a very, very solid unit to bring on the team. People underrate him. I mean, he probably is one of the worst Dokkan Fest exclusive LRs at this point. But after he gets his 18 key super, his defense is still very solid. He can counter super attacks as well. Obviously, like I said, the first half he's going to have type advantage over Omega, so he's going to be perfectly fine there. The only thing that's going to be maybe a bit bad for him is in the last few stages if he fails to counter a super attack from the Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, he might take a fair bit of damage. But as long as you've gotten the 18 key super that turn, then it shouldn't be too bad. So I did want to talk about LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku as well. So obviously once you get to Tech Gogeta, he's going to start doing no damage. But after supering, his defense is still really good. Now again, just like Vegeta, but even more so because he's going to have type disadvantage. If he gets tagged by a super from Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and doesn't counter, then yeah, he's going to take a lot of damage. But he's a unit that you could definitely consider putting on the team for the first 15 stages where you're fighting Omega, and then maybe change him out for somebody else if you wanted to do that. But he's going to be a solid unit on the team. Like I say, even against Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, as long as you get his super attack off, because he raises defense even on his 12 key, unlike Vegeta, then he's still going to be fairly solid defensively, and it's only going to be a super attack that is really going to make him come undone. And then, of course, both the LR Super Saiyan 4s, they have their active skill. Now, for Goku, of course, again, if you're against Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, it's going to basically do no damage. But turn 4, it means you can just fire off their active skill and potentially finish off the fight, which is going to be very good. So, next up we have some of the Shadow Dragon options. So we've got, of course, the new Sin from the Super Saiyan 4's banner. This guy's actually nuts. He's like probably one of the better side units in the game at this point. When you get enough orbs for him, which he does create himself, which is great. He creates rainbow orbs, obviously it helps tie together the field of orbs. As long as you've picked up, what is it, 7 or more orbs, you're getting his full attack and defensive buff, which is like 320% or something. He disables the enemy's guard, that's not important. He has a high chance to crit, and then he has a high chance of launching an additional super. And he raises attack and defense on for one turn on super attack effect. So if you have him with dupes or with skill orbs and he has additionals, he could triple super in that one turn. And then obviously he is going to be very, very powerful. So this guy is definitely good to bring. Even if you are running more of a Saiyan themed team, if you're just running like say Gogeta for the actual Shadow Dragon Saga leader skill, this guy's probably worth bringing with another Shadow Dragon just because of how powerful he is. And of course you can always change up the team a little bit from the first 15 stages once you beat Omega, and then change over to some of the Shadow Dragons to do the Gogeta stages. Because we have units like the Nova Shenron with his EZA. His EZA is quite old, but he's still fairly decent. Key 3, attack and defense 90%, not the highest stats in the world, but he does give Shadow Dragon Saga allies a 30% attack and defense. So he's still reasonably good. I remember even in Shadow Dragon's ESBR, he was still reasonably tanky when you're getting all of these links active with like the other Shadow Dragons. Especially because Shadow Dragons at level 10 gives you 20% defense. So he's a very good support. Even if you're not running a lot of other Shadow Dragons, he's still giving that support, but he's obviously not as good if you're not getting a bunch of those links active. Then we have the Sin Shenron, who got his EZA a little while ago. People were pretty underwhelmed by his EZA, which I guess is fair. But, you know, he's still decent on this setup, especially if you are running a bunch of the other Shadow Dragons. You get extra defense and some crit chance as well. So he is going to be pretty decent overall. Obviously not the best unit on the team. Gets a guaranteed crit with 7 or more orbs obtained. But remember, of course, in an EZA, you can't use same name units. So you can't use him and the Tech Sin Shenron at the same time. So obviously you have the Tech one. The Tech one is way better than this guy. I think the Tech one, possibly even without dupes, is potentially better than this guy rainbowed and EZA'd. I'm not actually sure. I haven't seen anyone do a comparison, but he's an alright option if you don't have the Tech one and you want to run a bunch of Shadow Dragons on the team. Because obviously you have the Oceanus Shenron in the Princess form. Obviously, a lot of her status effects you can't do in the later stages against Gogeta, but you are at least going to have type advantage. She raises defense on super attack, and then she has those like Shadow Dragon links. So if you are running a very Shadow Dragon-centric team, she'll fit into that very well, and obviously has type advantage against Gogeta as well. Then we have the Marjube. I thought I'd throw him in here. He is at least another unit that is on GT Heroes, as well as the Shadow Dragon Saga. So if you are wanting to build a team where you can use the LR Super Saiyan 4s as a friend, he's pretty decent. The more HP you have, the higher the stats you have. If you're above 80%, he has effective against all types, which means he'll still do decent damage against Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He does also create Rainbow Orbs, which can be pretty helpful for the rest of the team. And he raises attack and defense on Super, so any additional Super attacks are obviously going to make him even more defensive as well. And then we have the physical Nova Shenron. I thought I'd put him in here as an honourable mention because he's a really weirdly designed unit. He is actually a Shadow Dragon's lead as well for 4 key and 120, but they made him a super type unit who supports super class Shadow Dragon Saga allies with 40% defense. So it's weird because he's got the Shadow Dragon links because he is a Shadow Dragon, but he doesn't fit in well with the other Shadow Dragons on a team build. So bit of a weird choice for him. But for the first 15 stages, when you're fighting against an extreme class enemy, he does get extra attack and defense and a built-in crit chance. And then, of course, he's also getting extra key and more attack and defense when there's a Shadow Dragon enemy, Saga enemy, which is the whole EZA. So he's going to be pretty useful. You could bring him as a third slot floater, even if the whole of the rest of your team is like Saiyans. Because it's weird, he is a super type, but he's still on GT bosses, because he's still Nova Shenron. So I really don't understand why they didn't make him extreme, and just make him in extreme Dragon Saga allies support, but there you go. So there is one unit I know I definitely missed. So going back to look at the list, we have the LR Shadow Dragon army. So if you are going to bring a bunch of the other Shadow Dragons, I can't remember how many dupes you're available to get on JP for these guys at the moment, but they can be very, very good. They do provide GT bosses, allies 3 key, attack and defense 30%. So if you are running the team that is largely comprised of Shadow Dragons, then they are obviously going to be very, very good. They're very good after supering. They're basically like a third slot floating support unit, but as an LR. So they can be very, very useful. You're probably not going to get to turn 7 to use their active skill, but their active skill is not really going to do a lot anyway, because you can't debuff Gogeta by the time you get to that stage. It does give them 7 key, make it easier to get their 18 key super, but they're going to be a very good support unit if you're running a lot of the Shadow Dragons. So, I didn't talk about the normal Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Vegeta, because obviously AGL gets the damage reduction, but you could quite easily use him for the first 15 stages against Omega, and then switch him out for somebody else. Same with like the STR Omega Shenron, you could use him in the early stages when you're fighting the physical enemy, because his EZA is quite old now, he's pretty outdated. Units like the STR Trunk's very old. This Grade 8 Vegeta could be a decent free-to-play choice for when you're up to the tech Gogeta phases. But when you look at some of the other TURs on this team, like Full Power Super Saiyan 4 desperately needs an EZA. This guy is super old, not usable without an EZA. Same for this Trunk, same for this Pan. So we've pretty much gone over all of the units. Like, Shadow Dragon Saga is not a very big category. So let me know what you guys think down below. What is your team build going to look like for this EZA event? And like I said at the beginning, if you think there's any details I missed or any units I should have talked about more, let me know down below in the comment section and we can continue the discussion down there. And then, yeah, like I say, let me know what your team build is going to look like. This is one for me. I've been working on my JP account a little bit recently. I will probably struggle with this quite a bit because the only leader I have for the team is the physical Omega Shenron. So maybe I'll try streaming it and we'll see how that goes. But let me know what your guys' team is going to look like down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.